BWI Marshall Airport, we are
Hey, I'm gonna keep
committed to
this really
providing our
quick. This is going to be
customers
about
an easy come, easy go experience.
a
We
series
hope you
on
enjoy our
Netflix.
first-rate amenities
This
and
He-Man,
award-winning customer
Masters of the
service.
Universe,
Thank you for
the
flying
Revelation.
BWI Marshall Airport, the #1
Really
airport in the
quick, this was
Washington-Baltimore region.
a
Wherever you're
really good
headed,
one,
we'll take you
and
there.
I almost didn't do anything on it, but I saw the trailer for it, and it was something that caught my attention. It looked pretty good, but really quick, let me break this down for you really quick. There's some things that I observed when I was watching this. Now, if you guys are into these things like I am, now look, I grew up watching He-Man. He was actually one of my characters, favorite characters growing up. Look, a lot of people, he's kind of quirky looking. They haven't really updated him throughout through the course of this of the stories. I mean, he's been out since I think the early '80s, and and the story hasn't really changed that much. Even how he looks, pretty much the same. He could use an update with how he looks. First, let me just say that. But but other than that, this was a pretty good outing for this. You know, it's making me interested. I mean, there were a few other iterations of He-Man. I think it was Cartoon Network or Adult Swim. They look pretty. They all look pretty good. They've always lived up to expectations when it came to this He-Man universe. Now the She-Ra one may have been a little bit off, but as far as Prince Adam and the storytelling for that, it's only been pretty good. All the shows have been pretty good. Now look, this particular one, we saw some things that have never been shown before. Number one, we find out that Castle Grayskull was actually housing in its bowels um, the 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 uh, the magic of the whole planet. Even the universe was stored in the bowels of Castle Grayskull, and really Castle Grayskull was just hiding that. It was just to throw people off. Skeletor actually figured it out that in the bowels of of Castle Grayskull, well, I forgot what the name is, but I think the name of the Infinity Stone or something, not the Infinity Stone, but it was a looked like a stone, and it housed the magic, and he Skeletor wounds up getting access to it. Now this is the thing. Now, we've seen this before. Skeletor trying to take over Castle Grayskull. It was interesting how he took it over. It was just a strange event. So it had I think his name was the Faker or something like that. He took the form of He-Man and tricked the sorceress. Okay, he tricks the sorceress and he actually grabs her from behind. Skeletor winds up getting access to Castle Grayskull, where he goes to take the magic from the I guess they call it the Hall of Wisdom, from the bowels of Castle Grayskull. He can't get into it because it's sealed. Come to find out that the sword of Eternia that He-Man is holding is the key. During a battle, I can't remember which character it was. He either killed it or injured it. He-Man and struck out of anger and stabbed Skeletor to kill him. His sword gut Skeletor, inadvertently hitting the casing that the magic for the whole planet or universe is housed in, unlocking this, giving Skeletor access to it. Now, I'm not going to spoil the movie, but through a series of events, Skeletor and He-Man, along with the sword, wound up being destroyed. In the midst of this, it comes to find out, it was revealed that the sword, because it's made of pure energy and magic and power, wasn't actually destroyed. It was separated back to its original form. Now, this is key. That the Eternia, comes to find out, is centered in between heaven and hell. It's in the center of it. Part of the sword went into what they called hell, and the other half went to what they called heaven. Now, this is
To
key.
all
No
airport
one
patrons, for
ever
security
knew
reasons,
this.
please keep all packages and luggage with
We
you at
never
all
knew this.
times.
that the sword of
Eternia is
Eternia was
packages and
actually
luggage
housing
will
the
be
power
removed
of
for
good,
inspection
absolute
and may
power,
be
and
damaged or destroyed.
absolute goodness,
For
and
security
absolute
reasons, please
evil
do not
were
accept any
all came
packages or
together
luggage
and was
that do not
forged
belong
together
to you.
in this
Para
sword.
todos los
And
clientes del
He-Man
aeropuerto.
was in
Por
control, was
razones de
actually in
seguridad,
possession of it.
lleve
Remember, there's
consigo
a
todos los
saying in the
paquetes y
Bible,
equipaje en todo momento.
eating of this apple
Todos
will
los
give you,
paquetes y equipaje
however this,
desatendidos
help me out
se
here,
retirarán
that
para su
don't eat
inspección
of the tree
y
of life,
pueden
because eating of
dañarse
it
o
will give
destruirse.
you the knowledge
Por
of good
razones de
and
seguridad,
evil,
no acepte
and
ningún
you'll
paquete
become
o
like gods.
equipaje que no le pertenezca.
He-Man was actually holding the sword that symbolized that. He symbolized that. That's why he was the master of the universe. He held the sword that housed good and evil. He was able to master good and evil. But the moment he did this one thing, he struck out of anger, which set off a chain of events which allowed Skeletor to essentially become master in the universe. A few things happened after that, but it all started from that one fatal mistake that He-Man did. This has never been done. This has never been done. This is almost similar to when Superman actually killed someone on the silver screen for the first time. Remember, Superman would not kill for anything. That was one of his tenets. He does not kill. But WB saw fit. They went dark in it. You know, I'm saying, a theme with these movies. Oh, thank you. They're doing a few things where they're showing the darker side of, of these universes. Superman killed someone, which we've never seen before, and they just did it with Prince Adam. Keep in mind, He-Man, he's a male and a grown up, but he's actually a boy in there. This was Prince Adam put in a position where he tried to literally kill someone. This hasn't been done. You don't do this. Now keep this in mind. One of how this works is they're giving us stories. This is why you can't strike out of anger. They're showing this, and they would have never done this on any other episode, or even in the movies. This is not what Prince Adam does. This is big. This is essentially or what Superman did, killing someone. There's a theme. Let me tell you how important that is. If anyone you have been I'm gonna go off track a little bit. I'm gonna talk about Batman. A lot of you consider Batman a good guy, rightfully so. But this is the thing. He would almost be like an anti-hero. He's actually the opposite of Batman. They work together, but if you really get into the comics on how they describe Batman, Batman is responsible for a lot of the carnage that happens in Gotham. He's actually the cause of it. The criminals are actually responding back
We have put
to
an
how
all
he's
those in our
acting.
songs
The
for starts
violence
like
that
16,
he's
14
giving
to
to
Orlando. If you
take
are
down
ticket confirmed
criminals,
guests,
they're
please make your way to
responding back to it because they had
11,
never
SLT
seen
11 for
anyone
on departure.
like Batman before. So they amped up what they were doing as far as doing the violence and things of that nature. And that's why you see Gotham get so bad. They've said that time and time again. Gotham is responding to the violence that Batman is doing. So they're showing you here, this thing went way out of control. If you look at all the tenants striking down people, killing people, that's a no-no. Spiritually, that's a no-no. And you got the prince. Now keep in mind, this Prince Adam, I know we're talking about a show, but we're talking about the mythos of this. If you follow this type of stuff, Prince Adam doesn't kill anyone. That doesn't happen. And he did it out of anger, going against, look, he's holding what is pure goodness inside of that sword, and pure evil. He had succumbed to his dark side. He struck down in anger, which is a no-no. He did it. What happened after that? Skeletor winds up getting access to this wisdom that's housed into Eternia. Now look, that once this sword winds up getting destroyed, and Skeletor dies in the midst of this, and He-Man dies. They take us and they go a little further into the story. We see Prince Adam again. He's in heaven with 5 or 6 other people who held the sword before him. We also get to see the original holder of the sword was Grayskull. He was a black man. He was portrayed as a black man, and he was the person that held the sword before Prince Adam, and he was in his higher state form. And they made mention that Prince Adam was the first person to ever come to heaven and choose his lesser, what they perceived as his lesser form, because everyone else chose their higher form, which I guess they all were could have actually transform from a child into a man's body, wielding the sword. And all of them had died at some point, and he wound up being in heaven with all 5 before him. Now this is now. Let me get back. Let me jump forward a little bit. We don't see Skeletor. Prince Adam is in heaven as and what is perceived as his lower self. They even called him Flea Man instead of He-Man because he was so small compared to everyone else. He's in heaven. Tila winds up figuring out a way to get to heaven, and figures out a way to get to heaven. When they get there, I'm skipping some parts. They go to Grayskull and say, "Is there a way for us to get back to Eternia where he was at, to fix the problems that they had there?" First thing Grayskull says is, "Yeah, there's a way back." Adam asks him, "You never wanted to go back?" Grayskull responds, "Well, they're dead. It would be unnatural to go back." Keep this in mind, people. Prince Adam came back. Let me put this in perspective. He came back. He was resurrected right in front of our eyes. He did the resurrection. Prince Adam did the resurrection and as he came back. Grayskull says no, he wouldn't come back. He wouldn't go back because they're dead. It would be unnatural. How big of a deal is this? Put this in the same perspective as Star Wars. What was his name? Darth Plagueis. Bringing people back to life. The resurrection. Doing the unnatural. They call that unnatural. Bringing people back to life was looked at something you did not touch when you were dealing with in the Star Wars universe. You don't do that. Christianity accepts that, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. They were doing the same thing. They gave Prince Adam his resurrection in this. Don't let that skip you people. They did it. Now watch this, not just that. They forged the first half of the sword together. Tila is in charge of going to get the second sword. She has to go into hell and face her fears. Guess what? She goes down there to face her fears. I'm not going to tell you who. This is very similar to when in Star Wars, where Luke has to go into the cave and he winds up facing his fears, which was Vader. She goes down to face her fears. The first person they show her the Skeletor. She fought him. Showed her He-Man. She fights him. He says, "Oh no." I guess the devil or whoever is down there controlling that says, "Oh no, this is not what you're really afraid of." Tells her, "You're afraid of being great," and she winds up showing her her true form. They made a pact in hell, said, "Look, if you can defeat your fears down here, I'll let you go with the sword. If you don't, you have to stay down there." She winds up beating him. She shows her true form. The demon or whoever he is down there says, "Who the hell are you?" When she showed it to him, she says, "Oh, I'm not afraid of it. I have no fear. I just don't understand it." She literally turned into a light being. Now, I don't know who she's going to be. I'm honestly, if I'm going to take a guess, I'm thinking she's going to be the next sorceress. They're going to revamp this whole universe. She wound up being the first sorceress. Now that was another revelation. She winds up getting that first half of the sword. She winds up getting that sword. And Fast forward, they wound up putting the two swords back together. They wound up putting the two swords back together.
Federal law requires
And
all
as they're doing
individuals
it,
to wear
this
a
was
face
important
covering
because
or
all the
mask
power was going to
during
leave
visits
out
to
of
the airport.
Eternia,
Wash
and the
clean your
sorceress was
hands
dying.
frequently.
They
We
get
have
back to
made
Castle
hand
Grayskull.
sanitizer available
Prince
throughout
Adam is
the airport
going to
terminal.
say those
When
magical
possible,
words,
please
I
remember
am
to
power,
maintain
to
6
turn
feet
into
of
He-Man. Right
separation
before he's about to
between
do it,
yourself and others.
Skeletor comes back,
Thank you for flying
manifests out of
BWI
the
Marshall
staff
Airport.
that
And thank you for
Evelyn
helping to
is
keep your
holding.
fellow
She never
travelers
knew
safe
his essence
and
was being
healthy.
stored. Remember, we haven't seen Skeletor since his death. He just appears now. He wasn't in heaven. He wasn't in hell. His essence was being stored in her staff. He comes out of the staff right when Adam is about to say those words to transform him into He-Man, stabs him on the side or the back. This is the same way Jesus was stabbed on his side when he was on the cross. Remember, Prince Adam is the Christ figure in this universe. Now, I'm going to get back to how this is being done. It's almost like they're channeling. Remember, there's only one God. And in how you interpret it, but let's call that your interface. This is a mythos, the same way you have a Thor mythos, Star Wars mythos, or Egyptian mythology. This is another mythology being played out, and they're actually very similar. You'll see these stories play out over and over again, different iterations, because of the different interfaces. They're telling the story. Keep this in mind, Prince Adam, he symbolizes the first family. When in the Bible, when they talk about Adam, there's some that say Adam was plural. It was the tribe of Adam. It harkens back to that. Adam is he's from the first family. His father is in the story. He can be very similar to the Thor mythos, where you have the All-Father, Thor's father. That's the All-Father. We see him. He was actually the reason Skeletor looks the way he looks now. Yes. So, to add on to that, now listen to this. Skeletor winds up stabbing Prince Adam. This pretty much same way Prince Adam stabs Skeletor. Skeletor stabs him back. Do you see? This is the difference. Prince Adam was acting no different, or He-Man was acting no different than Skeletor did. There has to be a difference. There has to be a difference. He-Man can't act like Skeletor. You need to pick which side you're on. He struck out in anger and triggered all of this. People, listen. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He doesn't do that. Not holding that sword. Remember, you have to be in control of good and evil. Just as powerful as that sword is, just how as good as it is, just as how good and as powerful that sword is, it's 50-50. It's a duality. It's just as evil. He's harnessing it. He succumbed to the evil in it. Ooh. He succumbed to the evil in that sword. He struck out in anger. Can't do that. You cannot do that. It doesn't work like that. And look what happened right after he did it. That's why you don't do it. Every tenant, every comic book, Peter Parker, Superman. There's no killing. You can't go around killing people. That's how that works. And look what happened right after he did that. Set off a chain of events. Now keep this in mind. This show ends with Prince Adam laid out on the floor, bleeding out. Skeletor grabs the sword and puts it in the air and says those magic words, I am power, I am the master of the universe, and it ends with that. One of the most vicious cliffhangers in cartoon history. You know, it would be crazy if they ended it like that. There's no part two. It's just ended. This was good. This was excellent. But look, this is a gift. This is a gift to Kevin Smith. I I would love to see He-Man get the level up. We can do it. Wouldn't y'all like to see? Look, I'm gonna tell you how this is gonna turn out. And I'm putting this out to the universe, people involved in this show. Let this click in. This is how we're gonna do season 2. Scrap whatever you people think you're about to do. If you're gonna do something like this again, don't wait too long. You get those people right on it. It's gonna go down like this. He-Man comes back. Prince Adam dies. He-Man comes back. Remember, we don't see He-Man again, but we show He-Man coming in. However you're going to do it, parallel dimension, or however else you're going to do it. Because remember, it depends on how you're going, how you're going to do it. Prince Adam and He-Man, we have to show their division. They have to be 2 separate characters. And I'm sure we can figure out a way to make this work. He-Man comes back looking totally different. Like I said, come from another universe. He can come from, after that split, he comes back. But he looks somewhat different. Just when you give him something different. Remember, he doesn't have a sword. He's a more weakened He-Man. And we see He-Man without the sword going to war to obtain that sword back from Skeletor. This is a different type of He-Man. He's more like Conan the Barbarian. You gotta give him a new haircut. Put him in some war garb, the hood with the cape. We're gonna have to do that. He's due for an upgrade. He comes back down and says, you know what? We're going to have to do something drastic. We're going to have to do something unnatural. We're going to have to do something unnatural to get this sword back. And in the middle of the show, this cartoon show, He-Man comes out to screen into a live action He-Man. He-Man comes out the show into a live action He-Man. This thing goes from cartoon to live action. When I say live action, this better be Game of Thrones production, because you can fuck this up quick, fast, in a hurry if this isn't done properly. But if you do this right, you just opened up a whole nother universe for the silver screen. But you don't even have to do the whole story. This could be the lead up to the movie, a whole nother universe. And keep in mind, this has to be a badass He-Man, Game of Thrones type production. A new outfit. Don't put them furry shorts on him. Don't do it. And for God's sakes, give him a haircut and put some clothes on him. He-Man is almost like a Thor type character. Thor and Shazam. We gotta hook him up. We have to hook him up. We bring the whole thing in. Live action Skeletor, live action Thor. Look, it can be just one a glimpse. Maybe 5 minutes of it. Never been done. You don't tell me that transfers it to the silver screen. Y'all got everything. This, look, keep on, people, don't sleep on He-Man. There's comic books out there where He-Man has actually killed Superman. Remember, Superman has a problem with magic. That sword is nothing but magic. And He-Man is actually quite strong, could keep up in a fight with Superman. Keep that in mind. Look, Kevin Smith, who's ever in charge of doing this, y'all need to consider that. That'll open up this whole universe. Have this thing go from, and He-Man knows that he's about to go into live action. Say, look, we're about to do something unnatural. We're going into the real, we're going into another dimension to make this happen. It's almost like it's breaking the source wall. Oh, there you go. That is that no one is going to see that coming. Look, I want to see Superman. I want to see this do good. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And let me know what you think. Good day.